Yes, most definitely. Seville is a magical city. The Barrio Santa Cruz has all sorts of history. La Giralda, of course, you could set something during Semana Santa, which is so mystical. When I was in Spain, when I was in Seville, I remember Semana Santa. I remember the people carrying La Macarena. Was that the? They said, "This is the most important virgin, La Macarena," and they would carry her. Certainly, I could write something set in Seville. That would be a good idea. Perhaps in Madrid too, though. You know?
Yeah.
You have El Jardín de las Delicias.
¿Por qué da tanto juego el Renacimiento? ¿Por qué os gusta tanto a los autores?
You know, the Renaissance is a pivoting moment in human development. It's a moment when we went from the Dark Ages to Enlightenment. It's an explosion of culture, of ideas, of artwork. And I think that authors are always interested in change, in those moments and those ideas that change culture. I also believe that we are in a kind of new renaissance now, maybe a scientific, technological renaissance. Technology is moving very, very quickly. We're going to face profound questions in the coming years. I don't mean in the coming centuries or even the coming decades. I mean in the coming years. That's very interesting to me. I sincerely hope that our philosophy can catch up. Technology moves so fast, and our ethics, our morals, and our philosophy doesn't move quite as fast. And sometimes I feel that we're, with these new technologies, we are like children playing with fire. We don't understand the true power.
¿Hay algo que distinga Inferno del resto de tus libros?
Oh, certainly, yes. I mean, all of my books have similar elements. That's what makes them a Robert Langdon thriller. You have codes, you have symbols, you have secret passageways, history, art. This book, however, first of all, it deals with a literary work, not an artistic work. So in that way, it's new. I was very excited to write about a work of literature. Also, I think the villain in this book is, I feel like he's my best villain. I like to write about the gray area between right and wrong. And for those of you who have not read the book, and I hope someday will, this is a man who does the wrong thing for the right reason. And to me, that is the most fascinating thing.
Casi que me has contestado la siguiente. ¿Por qué la Divina Comedia?
Well, as I said, I've written about the fine arts, never about the literary arts. I was fascinated to learn how profoundly Dante affected the modern Christian vision of hell. Our vision of hell that we have today, in many ways, is informed and inspired by something that was written 700 years ago. That wasn't the Bible. It's kind of interesting. It was exciting to me. And also, of course, it's very dark. Lots of symbols. It's a journey through a terrifying landscape. There are a lot of parallels that I put in the book between Robert Langdon's journey and Dante and Virgil's journey. Some of the parallels are obvious. Some of them are more subtle. Some of them are almost encoded. And it's for the readers to have fun sort of seeing what comparisons they can make.
Una pregunta curiosa. Mira, ¿le sorprende su éxito? ¿Le asombran las cosas que le dicen sus lectores?
To be honest, yes. My success surprised me. Of course, you dream of success. Nobody dared dream what happened to the Da Vinci Code. That was a success beyond everyone's wildest dreams. It's funny, when you're a writer, all you have to write with is your own taste. And you write the book that you yourself would want to read. That's all you can do. You say, what would I want to read? And you write that down. And then you hope people share your taste. And in the example of the Da Vinci Code, it seemed a lot of people shared my taste. Also, there's a lot of luck involved, too. I had written 3 books that did not sell. The Da Vinci Code was the first that really did sell. The Da Vinci Code was published by chance into a moment in history when a lot of people were questioning authority, a lot of people were looking for different ways to look at religion. And as I said, I grew up in a house where it was okay to ask questions. And for me to ask the questions that I asked in the Da Vinci Code, that was okay. My parents said, good, you're interested in religion, you're asking good questions. And when it comes to that particular novel, I told an alternative story of Jesus Christ that to me personally, made more sense logically than the story they taught me in Sunday school. That's just a personal thing. That's the story that made more sense to me. And writers or readers all the time will say, you know what, that made more sense to me too. That's why the book resonates. I don't know what the truth is. None of us will ever know the absolute truth. But I thought it was okay to ask the question. Some people thought it was a bad idea to ask the question. But I'm very grateful for my success. It's 95% wonderful. Of course, there's 5% that's a challenge sometimes. But I'm very grateful.
Okay, lectores de todo el mundo te aclaman. A veces la crítica no tanto. ¿Qué opinas de eso?
Thank you for asking. Who wrote that question? Obviously, you wish everybody in the world loved everything that you do. That's not how it works in the creative arts. If you're a writer, or a painter, or a musician, or even a chef, as I said, all you have as a guide is your own taste. You write the novel, or the painting, or the symphony, or the souffle that you like. And then you hope people share your taste. Some people will share your taste, and they will be your fans, your readers. Some people will not share your taste. They'll be your critics. But at the end of the day, it's okay. It creates a dialogue. When I get a bad review, I don't take it personally. I think, this is the wrong reviewer for my work. This person doesn't share my taste. There's nothing I could do to make this person like what I do, but that's not his or her taste. And that's okay. So, I guess that's the answer. Life goes on. I should add one thing. For all of you creative people in the audience who may be writers or musicians or artists who put your work out there and people say good things about it and people say bad things about it, I got some very good advice early on in my writing career when I started to get reviews. And that was that you should not read any of your reviews, not the good ones, not the bad ones. Because if you believe the bad ones, you have to believe the good ones, and vice versa. And if you believe, when people say, you're the best, you're great, if you believe that, you start to get lazy, and you start to not work quite as hard. And when people say, you're terrible, you're the worst, then you get self-conscious. And maybe you don't work as well. And so the best thing you can do as a creative person is to put on the blinders, just look straight ahead, ignore comments on both sides of the equation, do what you love to do, and then hope people share your own taste.
Voy con la siguiente. ¿Cuál es su mayor aspiración? ¿Tener muchos lectores o pasar a la posteridad como Dante?
Ambos. No, I would never presume to put myself in the same sentence with Dante. So that's the first point. I love having a lot of readers. I think that people who have been fortunate enough to be given a voice and a platform from which to say something, I believe we have a responsibility to speak from our hearts, to say something that's important to us, to create art and music and literature that people enjoy. Some will enjoy it, some won't, but that's, again, just how it is. For me, I don't know if people will read the Da Vinci Code in 700 years. Probably not. I hope we're here in 700 years, after all the depressing things I said on the stage tonight.
Ok. ¿Qué es lo más duro de tu trabajo? ¿La documentación o la escritura?
Esto. I think probably the writing. The research is, it's difficult, but I mean, it's exciting. You travel, you talk to curators, you go to libraries, you learn about history, you learn about science. I talk to a lot of scientists writing this book, and that's interesting. But that is sort of an open time of writing, when there are no rules, when you can gather as much information as you want. When it comes to writing, you need to give the reader exactly what he or she wants and needs, and nothing more. So, and I've said this before, for every one page that you read in Inferno, I wrote 10 pages that I threw out. And that was out of respect to the reader, saying, you know what, the reader doesn't need to know this. They need to know just this one little part that I'm going to put it here. I should also say that touring, going out and speaking to people and being public, is a strange thing for a writer. Writers work alone, oftentimes in the dark, in our pajamas. I had to buy a suit because I couldn't come here in pajamas. But you work alone, and you don't talk to anybody for 3 years. You can ask my wife. You don't talk to anybody. And then all of a sudden, your book is done, and the publisher spins a big spotlight, puts it in your face, and says, go be interesting. Go be fascinating. And it's kind of shocking, especially in Spanish.
Mira, esta me gusta. ¿Te dejas aconsejar por tus editores?
Of course, that's their job. Yes, absolutely, especially you.
¿O de qué persona valoras más el consejo?
When you're a writer, the aspect of your mind that you lose most quickly is your perspective, your distance from what you write. You spend all day with your book, and there comes a point when you don't actually know how it feels to a reader reading it the first time, because you've seen it 1,000 times. And you can guess what it would be like for the reader to read it the first time, but you don't know. And that's when editors are very, very important. I write a manuscript, and I will, after I've read it many times and I'm happy with it, I'll give it to my wife, Blythe, and of course she's my wife, she will be dead honest. That's always helpful. Wives are very honest, painfully honest. And she will, she'll say, hey, this is great, I love it, you know, but you should add more art. Or it's too much of a chase. She always says, you need to add more art. You need to add more architecture. And I'm always saying, no, the plot needs to move faster, we need to take this out. So there's a bit of a battle, which is great. And as you know, as an editor, it really is a meeting of the minds. That you have the perspective and the expertise of knowing, in your case, the Spanish language and the Spanish reader, and you can take what I've done and say, you know, you can bring your expertise to it. I also have a wonderful editor in the United States, my dear friend Jason Kaufman, and he and I have made 5 books together, and he's become perhaps my best friend because we talk so often. But he is very famous because he appears in every novel. In every Robert Langdon novel, Robert Langdon's editor, Jonas Falkman, makes an appearance. Jonas Falkman is an anagram of Jason Kaufman. Not a very difficult code, but a code nonetheless. And Jonas Falkman gets to say things about writers. He says bad things about writers in the book, which is very funny because Jason says things behind my back, I know. But I hear some of them, so I get to put them in the book. And Jason once said, book publishing would be so easy if it weren't for the damn authors.
Dan, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros en España y esta noche aquí con todos nosotros. Gracias a ustedes también por acompañarnos y muy buenas noches.
Gracias.